radio is AD on the radio. What?
Today on the show, Republican senators caught on a hot mic and a Republican congressman on TV make us wonder if anyone knows what they're doing at the moment. Plus, prostitutes don't want to be associated with OJ Simpson when he gets out, and Funkhouser is mad about Microsoft Paint going away.
Not cool, Bill Gates. Well, at least I still have Clippy and that dog that searches for things.
Ooh, I got some bad news.
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is a no, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
So a bunch of fifth grade kids, of which I am one, were gathered, sitting in our seats, expectantly, our eyes focus on the front of the room. In shuffle, 4 or 5 older kids. And I do not remember any of them, save one. They were all there to give us a presentation, their speech, to let us know why we should vote for them for student body president, student council elections. And you remember when you were about that age, don't you? When you were in the 5th grade and a 7th grader walks into the classroom, the big kids here, oh man. And I don't remember what any of the candidates had to say, except for this one kid who was, because he was in the 7th or 8th grade, he was like a foot taller than all of us. And the girls in the 5th grade class, who hadn't even really figured out that they were into boys yet, because you're at that age. Your hormones aren't fully carbonated yet. You're not girl crazy or boy crazy. But the girls in the class responded to this guy. And I was like, whoa, girls think this guy's cool and good looking. And for that reason, I kind of want to be like him. For that reason, man, I remember he was wearing sneakers, and the sneakers were really cool. And I remember, do you remember what age you were when you started doing stuff to your hair? Like to try and make it look cool, when you first discovered hair gel? And you realized that if your hair was a little more spiky, or if it was parted a certain way, you kind of had a different thing going on. I think this kid, with his sneakers and his cool haircut, made me go, maybe I should get some of that gel stuff and see if I can't make my hair do that too. And I couldn't tell you a single freaking thing about the rest of the candidates and their campaign platforms. But I remember this one kid, and I won't give you his full name because he's still out there. I think we're friends on Facebook. So I don't want him getting bothered by a bunch of people who roast him for being hypocritical in the middle school elections back in the day when I was growing up. But he was kind of hypocritical. He was all flash. Like I said, girls were into him. Guys wanted to be like him. I was already thinking about what amount of gel I'd have to use in my hair to make it go the way his did. I wanted a pair of sneakers like him. He was cool. And he said, I want to advocate for things that you and me are really interested in. Things like a little longer at lunchtime. More activities provided for us at recess. And on some days, 2 desserts. And I'm going to try and get Taco Tuesday brought back. Oh, the Taco Tuesday. Oh, man. That was such a cool thing because, like, in England where I was growing up, tacos, or tacos as they call them, weren't really all that common. So the idea that this kid might bring tacos into our lives, oh my goodness, this is a big deal. And someone said to me, who are you voting for? I was like, yeah, I'm voting for Nick. Who are you voting for? They're like, oh, definitely Nick. I mean, it must have been an outrageous landslide. This charismatic, good-looking kid full of promise and promises to us about how our lives were going to be significantly different if we voted for him. And that was the first time I ever voted and the first time I ever experienced the chagrin of, hey, wait a second. All that stuff that he talked about, none of that's happened. Our recess is still the same amount of time. There are no tacos. There's no activities on the playground. It's just a field we're supposed to walk around in and make our own fun. What the hell? My school in America, before I moved to England, we had big wheels at lunchtime. Big wheels. Where's my freaking big wheel, Nick? And I remember I said hi to him once. You know, he's my elected official. He looked at me like I was dirt. Like, what do you want, kid? I was like, I voted for you. He was like, oh, thanks. And I was like, how's it going on this? And he was like, completely noncommittal, and then walked away. And I was like, well, I think I just learned a lesson. I think a lot of the time, substance can be overlooked in the case of style. And not only that, someone can talk a really good game and know absolutely nothing about what they're doing. Someone can talk a really good game and have absolutely no way of making their promises come true. Someone can talk a game that is good and be absolutely clueless. And, well, do you see where this is going? Let's start the show!
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So the very first time I ever voted was the very first time I was ever disappointed by a political candidate. The very first time I ever kind of figured out that people are going to come in and campaign, ask for your support, ask for your vote, and then deliver absolutely none of what they talked about. They just wanted to win for the sake of winning. That's what Nick, my middle school student body president, who won by a landslide based on his cool sneakers and his cool hair, taught me. It was a valuable lesson, I suppose. And one that I'm glad I learned early on. So I suppose I'm a little grateful to Nick. But I remember thinking, I was like, you made us all these promises. And not only are you not bothering to try and follow up on them, you've got no idea what to do. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know what action to take to get Taco Tuesday brought back in the lunchroom. You have absolutely not a shred of an idea of how to get activities provided for our recesses. I came from a school in America where at lunchtime we had big wheels. Big wheels, Nick. When am I getting my big wheel? You got my vote. That was basically how I felt. And it's this idea that just with a couple of frilly words and some cool shoes, someone was able to inspire this idea of confidence in them. Like they really knew what was up. They really knew what was going on. And now, as an adult, don't you feel a lot of the time you look at our politicians and you go, I wonder, do they have any idea what's going on? Do they have any clue? Are they just completely flabbergasted and confounded and have absolutely no idea how to get where they want to go? Yes, is the answer to your question. Oh, man. Did you hear? There was another embarrassing hot mic moment for two U.S. senators. You catch this? Republican Susan Collins and Democrat Jack Reed talking about President Trump and his budget. And the word crazy was thrown out there. Let's see if the audio is good enough for you to hear on this particular piece.
I mean, I don't say that lightly and as a kind of, a goofy guy.
He said, in case you missed it, I think he's crazy. I don't say that lightly and as kind of a goofy guy. I went on to say, I'm worried. Oof. You know this thing? If we don't get a budget deal, we're going to be paralyzed. That is the sort of confusion that exists in our political process. These people that we pay with our tax dollars, our blood, sweat, and tears every single day of our lives are going, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do. What are we going to do? I don't know. Want to go to lunch? The taxpayers pay for? Want to get a drink with lunch? I could use a drink. These are our elected officials going, we're worried. We don't know what's going on. We think that guy's crazy. Now, a slightly more watered down version of this would be Charlie Dent. Catch this? Charlie Dent is a Pennsylvania Republican congressman who said, look, I have conversations with colleagues privately. They're very frustrated and concerned, too. We're not able to deal with the basic elements of governing right now. We're dealing with drama down the street at the White House. It's hard to focus on our agenda, and nobody is paying attention to it when you're talking about tweets all day. It's hard to focus on our agenda. This is coming from the Republican side of the fence. And look, this is not a partisan thing. This is coming directly from Republicans. This is not coming from Democrats going, he's crazy, nobody can get anything done. And you know what? You've heard me say it time and time again on this show. I'm not anti-anyone all the way. There's parts of Trump's presidency that I went, whoa, that might really be something positive there. I always go back to it, but I think he did something incredibly positive for our economy before he was even in office. He was like, hey, oh man, you're not going to believe the border tax that people are going to have to pay if they're bringing in goods from Mexico or if they're taking business to Mexico and trying to bring that business back into America. Ooh, automobile manufacturers thinking of setting up shop in other countries. There will be a border tax. And immediately, Auto Manufacturers of America went, bazinga, we are moving jobs back to Michigan. And all of a sudden, people have jobs and employment, and people are making things in America. Making and buying American, employing Americans. You will absolutely never, ever get an argument against that from me. And just with the power of his tweety tweets, our president of these United States of America and leader of the free world managed to bring some jobs back to America. And look, there's plenty of things to be mad about, literally at all times. But when there's something to be stoked on, I think you're cheating yourself out of a little slice of happiness and a little sense of optimism and positivity if you don't allow yourself to get excited about something good happening for Americans, regardless of who created it. But the idea that so many people are going, we don't know what's going on. We can't tell what's going on. We think he might be crazy. This isn't working. It's hard to keep our eyes on the prize of our Republican agenda as this transpires. Meanwhile, let's fritter away taxpayer dollars. That does not make me feel good. Does it make you feel good? I'm guessing the answer is a big screaming no.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on. Come on.
Hey, Funkhouser, how can you tell that prostitutes don't want to be around OJ Simpson?
Uh-oh. I don't know. How can you tell that prostitutes don't want to be around OJ Simpson, the juice?
Oh, this is not a joke.
It's not a joke?
This is not the setup to a joke with a punchline that
sure
would get me
sounded
fired
like
from
it.
my job in radio. This is a fact. Prostitutes don't want to be around OJ Simpson. How do we know that the prostitutes don't want to be around OJ Simpson? We'll talk about the prostitutional disdain for the juice a little later on in the show. Ooh, prostitution. Wow. That's one of those things that just comes out of you and you can't repeat it. Prostitutional disdain for the juice. A little later on in the show. Oh, we're going to do news now?
Oh, were we not?
Sure, yeah, we can do news.
Sounded like you were going there.
Yeah, no, we can go there.
Brown and black stripes were added to the gay pride flag.
Deciding to do news when I don't know if I want it. What?
What? I thought you...
No, I'm totally cool doing the news. I'm joking with you, Funkhouser.
Fine.
Having a little joke. What happened in the news?
Brown and black stripes were added to the gay pride flag.
Oh. Still no sequence, huh? Odd. Brown and black. Just what Mike Pence needs. More reasons not to fly it.
Researchers say alcohol can actually help improve your memory in certain situations.
Really? Have you ever gotten tanked and remembered more?
Have I ever? No. I can't recall.
Let's see.
I cannot answer that question.
How does this work? Wait. For instance, okay, here's a for instance. This is apparently how alcohol can improve your memory. When subjects were asked to drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniels, and the next morning, all of them remembered why they never do that. There you go. Fine example.
A study found that drinking tequila may be good for your bones.
And drinking a lot of it is good for your chances to bone, I would believe.
Oh. Hey,
what's the country and or western song? Tequila makes your clothes fall off?
Mm-hmm. Great song. A couple days ago was National Tequila Day.
Wow. Did you celebrate with a shoddy shot?
Me, no.
I don't drink alcohol, but I did in the past. As a teenager, I scarfed down tequila in a parking lot once when I was headed into something somewhere, like got the buzz on beforehand. I remember doing tequila shots in the parking lot and really not enjoying it at all.
Sounds painful.
It wasn't good. Like yeah. But then when I became an adult and stopped drinking, I noticed that the smell of tequila, I guess if you're drinking the lousy stuff, you ever notice tequila smells kind of like glue?
Yeah.
Like someone will do a shot of tequila and it smells like they just opened up a container of Elmer's glue. You remember that smell?
Ugh.
When you were a kid?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You would put it on your hands, wait for it to dry a little bit and peel it off. That, to me, is what tequila smells like. It smells like glue. That doesn't seem to be a good thing. But, yeah, National Tequila Day was this week, just in case you were wondering why half the office is called in sick.
It was the worm. It was not my fault. It was the worm. Washington is still talking about President Trump's undisclosed second meeting with Vladimir Putin at the G20.
Oh, yeah. I think Mike Pence is just concerned that there was any gay stuff going on. He was like, wait a second. Vladimir Putin, did he ride in shirtless on a horse? What exactly is going on?
Isn't he always shirtless?
Vladimir Putin?
Mm-hmm. He's shirtless more often than...
In promotional pictures, yeah, he's certainly shirtless more often than other world leaders. He's photographed shirtless more often. Rumors were floating around a little while ago that Vladimir Putin was hoarding gold. You know, the idea that cash was going to completely become a useless commodity and it was going to go back to gold and silver and things like that. And there's this rumor that Vladimir Putin was, in fact, hoarding a significant portion of Russia's gold. And I was like, I bet I know where. In that incredibly empty shirt closet. Go on.
Many people are saying Donald Trump is the least athletic president in generations.
What did he say?
Wasn't there
about...
a guy in a wheelchair once?
Yeah.
It wasn't very many generations ago, wasn't it?
Apparently he said some funny stuff about exercise. What was it? What did President Trump say about exercise, Funkhouser?
Again, another setup to a great joke.
No, it's not a joke. Yeah. Hold on. Donald Trump ads from CNN. It's partisan. I saw the headline a little while ago. Who knows what the hell it is. Fake news, alternative facts.
He considers exercise misguided.
What the hell is this? Stop. Shut up. No.
What's that, me?
No, I don't know what the hell that was.
Oh, God, it was a pop-up ad, wasn't it? Oh, my life's flashing before my eyes right now.
Now I hate CNN because they're so partisan.
Man. And
because they've got really loud pop-up ads. What the hell
like
was
4
that?
cents off of you just now.
I want it back. Yeah. I don't know. Did you... I think presidents should set an example of fitness. But, I mean, look, you're in the decline. You know, at age 70... how fit can you really be? I mean, I know that you're trying to do all those little things, those little adjustments so that you don't die terribly soon. But once you pass a certain point, fitness becomes less about being a ripped-toned, shredded super athlete with single-digit body fat and a noticeable six-pack and more about not dying so quickly. You know? Like, it's not... I don't think anybody expects a 70-year-old man. People are all bent out of shape about this. He still gets out there. He walks around, seems to be playing a lot of golf. And people are like, he's not as fit as President Obama. Well, Obama was way, way younger than him. And I don't know. Well, there was that presidential fitness thing. You remember? Did you ever have to take the presidential fitness test? Funkhouser?
Maybe. Is it cardio is involved, I think?
There were all these different... You had to run the mile. You had to do pull-ups. You had to do the V sit and reach and a couple of other things. I don't know. How did you do with those? Did you pass?
Oh, I was bad at all that stuff.
Yeah?
I was a bowling champion.
They had bowling in your school? That's pretty cool.
Instead of PE?
I did not have bowling in my school. Did you have to run the mile?
Yeah. My time is like 8 or 9, I think. It was at the end.
Not good.
Yes. I walked the last quarter.
Oh, Funkhouser.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not casting aspersions on anyone who did, but...
Funkhouser does not mean physically fit in German.
Right, yeah, Funkhouser means Radio Shack in German. I was the fastest kid in my school. At the mile. I don't know if there were faster sprinters. But, I ran a brisk mile. Yep, I did.
What was your time?
I don't remember exactly.
You were the fastest one, so it's got to be under 4, I think.
No. Roger Bannister ran the 4-minute mile in the Olympics back in the day. It was not under 4. I think it was under 5. I think it was just under 5 minutes, like 4:50 something. I think was the fastest mile time in my school. Bear in mind, I went to a small school, so I'm sure if I went to a normal-sized school with other kids, with a normal amount of school in it, with a normal amount of kids in it, there would have been kids there that were fast. Small victory because, I was that same 7-8 minute mile guy for a while, and then something happened. Hormones kicked in. I got taller, stronger, a little bit faster, and I remember getting out onto the track and be like, no, I gotta run. It's gonna suck, and I'm gonna be embarrassed because I'm slower than everybody else. And was the song playing in my mind as I was walking up to the track. And I was like, oh, son of a bitch, I'm faster than everybody else. That's pretty cool. It was good. I liked it. It was years of failure, and all of a sudden, thanks to genetics, I passed the presidential fitness test once I made it to high school. But yeah, that was miserable in the middle school, especially because you have all these people maturing at different times, have different levels of physical fitness. It's right around the 6th grade you start to notice they're like, I still look like a boy, he looks like a man. Like that kid over there, Todd with the berserk pituitary gland, has been shaving for the last year and a half. And I think when we were changing in the dressing room, I saw that he has hair on his back. And meanwhile, I'm still waiting for certain things to distend and drop. And but it's so weird. It's it's such a strange stage of life where everybody is maturing in many different ways at many different levels. But Cro-Magnon and Todd, with, like I said, the berserk pituitary gland, was super muscular and super fast, and everybody was like, what the hell, man? And I remember even the PE teacher taking us aside being like, that's just so you know, that's not normal. Don't worry about measuring up to Todd. Worry about being the best you can be. Todd upset the curve in gym class because he was, all the things that Todd was. Good for Todd.
Nobody count
what Todd's
Todd.
doing these days.
Todd, you get the coach this time.
I don't think anybody really expects Donald Trump to be in great shape at his age. It's just like, and a president that works out a lot is to me like a president that goes on vacation and plays golf a lot. I don't have time to do these things. Funkhouser, you ever seen the promotional pictures of me before I clawed my way to middle management in corporate America? Yeah.
No
pretty
comment.
different story now. Yeah.
I refrain commenting as to not incriminate myself.
Somebody who hadn't seen me in a little while saw me a little while ago, and it was somebody that I used to see at the gym, and they actually said, "What happened?" like obviously I've been really sick.
Did he mean like you're not at the gym anymore, or like?
No, he just looked at me. He went, "What happened?" I was like, "Thanks a lot." And he was like, "You got to get back into it, man. Like, you got to get back into it. Like, you really." And he was like, "I'm only saying this because I think you'd be happier if you were at the level you were at of fitness before." And I was like, "Again, thank you. I'm just gonna waddle off over here and eat my feelings." But the reason, like, I'm not in shape anymore is because I don't have freaking time, and I don't think the president should have freaking time to do squats and lunges and.
Well, he's out on the golf course for like the 46th.
I know. Well, I mean, I have a problem with every freaking president. George Bush was always at his ranch in Crawford, Texas. How the hell do you have time to be at your ranch on vacation? Obama was playing golf like crazy. Trump plays golf like crazy. No recreational time. You get back in there, you run the country. Let your health go to crap the way I did as I try and figure out which Red Hot Chili Peppers songs are going to make iHeartMedia more money. You let your health go to crap. If I have to do it for this job, you definitely have to do it for... No, Under the Bridge has experienced a certain amount of burn. People like Under the Bridge. People like Under the Bridge, but they've heard it too much, so they don't want to hear it all the time. We have to rest Under the Bridge and then bring it back. This is what makes up my day. This is why I jiggle. This is why my stomach moves when I brush my teeth. And if I have to be that way because of the Red Hot freaking Chili Peppers M-scores, then the president shouldn't have time to work out. So it's fine that Donald Trump is a big fat fatty. Maybe collusion makes you put on weight.
Sometimes you just know you're done. You're longing for that shining sun. You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away. Radio. 104.1.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you my musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD, and can't nobody rock a body better than me. Back once again.
So how can you tell that prostitutes still want to be around OJ Simpson? As we said earlier in the show, this is not a joke. The punchline to which would get me disabused of my job in radio. No, this is an actual thing. This happened. We know that prostitutes don't want to be anywhere near the juice, so to speak. And we'll get into exactly what happened and how we know this a little later on. Right now, though, let's continue with what remains of the news. Funkhouser.
Monica Lewinsky turned 44 last week.
Yeah. Or, as Hillary Clinton called it, Sunday.
I wonder if they've ever spoken
for her. I think she was interviewed, and I think she answered this question. I think the answer was no, but I couldn't be sure. Wow. These days for her, just getting older, this sucks. By the way, remember when the internet was consumed with what color is this dress?
Yeah, I remember when the internet was like all about her dress being a certain color.
Like I said, low-hanging comedic fruit, a gag window that I was only too eager to crawl through, but, the times did not match up, and it was not to be. Too bad, so sad. We're sorry. What else is going on in the news?
Hurricanes with female names kill twice as many people as hurricanes with male names.
Well, there used to not be any hurricanes with male names, so that makes sense. Like, Remember? The old joke was, hey, why aren't there any hurricanes named after men?
I don't know. Why are there no hurricanes named after men?
Have you ever heard of a himicane? That was the gag. But now they do have hurricanes with male names, and they're saying that hurricanes with female names kill twice as many people as hurricanes with male names. Well, that's because there's been infinitely more hurricanes with female names. Or is it because do hurricanes with female names kill twice as many people as hurricanes with male names because you forgot to take out the garbage? I don't know.
Aw.
That was cheap.
Yeah.
You ever see that episode? You ever see that episode of
Reminds me of the
Everybody
sandwich
Loves...
joke.
What? What sandwich joke?
You know, how we can't talk about sandwiches.
Oh, yeah. I hate the sandwich joke because it makes the subject of delicious sandwiches a sensitive and sore one, and I don't want anything to get in the way of me enjoying sandwiches. You know? You can't ask for a sandwich without dealing with a certain amount of reproachment in this day and age, and I think that's a real shame. I do. So I dislike sandwich jokes because they've tainted my enjoyment of sandwiches. F the sandwich joke. Yeah. Do you ever see that episode of Everybody Loves Raymond? It was on years and years ago, and I remember it was so telling. It was so true. It was so right, where I guess Raymond's wife gets PMS'd and yells at him a lot. And so he goes to the store and gets her some sort of like anti-stress, anti-PMS stress related medication. You see this one, Funkhouser?
Oh, huh.
And he was like, hey, I was thinking that maybe you should take this because you seem a little stressed out. And she gets the bottle of medication and she goes, clang, oh, look, I took one, and all of a sudden your socks magically made it into the hamper. You know, oh, look, I took one of these, and all of a sudden you remembered to pick up the kids from school. And I was just like, you know, that was my all men are stupid. We are. We are. We're idiots. And
we shouldn't accept it, but we do.
And if PMS does cause a woman to act more aggressively toward you or me as a male, it's because their infinite amounts of patience for our garbage have come to a halt for a week. And if we were just better, we probably wouldn't be getting yelled at. There you go.
Do you hear about the wild monkeys that are overrunning suburban neighborhoods in Central Florida? Do you hear about this?
I actually did hear about the wild monkeys overrunning neighborhoods in Central Florida, and it's crazy. It's like Planet of the Apes became a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't think the residents should panic about the monkeys. Apparently, they're too busy singing to put anybody down.
That was a good one. That was a wholesome joke there.
That was a wholesome joke. What do you do, though? Like, I mean, it's crazy. It's literally crazy.
Helen, the monkeys are back.
Monkeys are tearing apart people's homes. Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, a horde of rampaging wild monkeys rips apart your home. Is there some sort of, like, monkey insurance policy you can take out? Like, is there some sort of... What if you just bought that house? What if you just buy a house and a bunch of wild ape-like creatures tear it down, rip the roof off, break the windows? What happens if you just bought that house and it gets destroyed in that situation? There's some sort of like refund you can get, some sort of monkey back guarantee.
No, probably not.
It's too bad.
Really bad. Too bad.
A little surprised you didn't break out the Karate Kid for that one.
It's around here somewhere. It does that one off. It was close.
What do you mean?
Monkey back guarantee.
I love that joke. I love that joke. And I can't remember when I came up with that joke, but it was a long, long time ago. And ever since then, I frantically scour the headlines looking for anything that has anything to do with an ape or a monkey or any kind of semi-evolved simian so that I can make the monkey back guarantee joke. And fortunately, it's about every 6 to 9 months that a monkey winds up in the headlines and I can work the monkey back guarantee joke in, which is just long enough for people that have heard the show before to forget about it. Love it.
Okay, fine. Here, you can have it then.
You're the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
In other Florida news, Florida woman who called herself the $1 Million Hoe was arrested for offering sexual services for $40.
Well, let's not be too tough on her. She didn't bill herself as the $1 million mathematician. What do you get for $40?
You can ask Google that. Put that in your old
yeah, not on an office computer. Not on an office. You know, actually, though. So do you use Google Chrome, right?
Do I? Yeah. Oh, that's all I use.
Yeah, and you sign into Google Chrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember at what point it was where I realized that all the vast amount of adult entertainment material surfing that I was doing at home on my Google Chrome account also showed up in my browser at work, and I was like, you know what? The engineering staff know exactly what this is all about. They're fine with it. This is cool that when I type in the word B, the first thing that comes up is big. Well, I can't say that on the radio.
The professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KPRC. More stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So, you know how the other day on the show we were talking about these translation devices for pets? Pretty fascinating stuff. Do you remember that, Funkhouser?
Mm-hmm.
So,
that means yes. That means yes.
Right. Oh, good. New report says we might have these actual translation devices for pets in as little as 10 years. Some scientists disagree, so we can't get our hopes up just yet. But, oh man, this could be the world that we would live in.
Speak!
Hi there.
Did that dog just say hi there?
Oh, yes.
Bruh!
My name is Doug. I have just met you, and I love you. My master made me this collar. He is a good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk. Squirrel!
It'd be so cool. So cool. But like I was saying yesterday, I don't know that I could do it. Because, like, I love dogs so much, so unbelievably close and attached to them. It's just, I love them. Love them. Every single dog I've ever had, I've absolutely loved them. Just in an incredible deep way that I can't describe. But if you've been a dog owner, you know. I honestly believe that a dog will... It doesn't matter who you are. You could be Mother freaking Teresa. Get a dog. It'll make you a better person. A dog will teach you the meaning of love. A dog, I think, probably taught me what love was. And, you know, there's an amazing book. And I avoided reading it for the longest time because it had this weird, snarky, slimy, draconian-sounding title that I didn't trust. But you ever read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Funkhouser?
I've heard of it. Have not read it.
It's like the title sounds, you know, sleazy. How to Win Friends and Influence People. But it's basically like 300 pages of it's nice to be nice. It says that, you know, how to win friends and influence people, be nice to them. Take a genuine interest in other people. Care about them. Care about what they do. Don't manufacture a bunch of hypey BS when you're trying to be friends with someone. Really, really give a crap is basically the message of it. And it's, like I said, a whole book of it's nice to be nice. But it said if you really want to be a friend, if you really want to be a true friend to someone, the best example of friendship that you could ever learn from would be a dog. You want to be a better human? Try and be more like a dog when it comes to being a friend. And I love dogs so much. And so, like, being able to understand them and talk to them and have dog translators, that sounds great. But then it's just the heart-wrenching part. The tragedy of dogs is that their lives are shorter than ours. And the pain when they go is just unspeakable. And I think it would get a little bit deeper too if you had that much of a closer relationship. So I don't know if I could handle it. I don't know if I could do it. And then, you know, there's this idea that when you leave, your dog thinks you're going away forever, like genuinely thinks you're never coming back. And that's why they're so excited when you get home. They're like, oh my God, you're home. I didn't think you were coming home. But there's this idea that every time you walk out the door, they don't think that you're coming back. And if I had to hear that, I could never leave the house again. If I heard like, oh, you're leaving me forever. Like I just, I couldn't deal. It'd just be too tough. It really would.
Sad every day.
I have this horrible idea, and this is like, it's terrible, but it like actually eats at my insides if I think about it. Like Millhouse, my puppy, was a rescue, and I can't believe it. Like he's just the greatest. He's the absolute greatest. And the idea that he was homeless, that he was out on the street fending for himself, just breaks my heart. That it's happening to any dog ever breaks my ever-loving heart. It's terrible. And when I leave the house, sometimes if I'll leave him treats in his kennel, and sometimes he eats them, sometimes he doesn't. And I have this horrible idea in my head that he's saying to himself, "Oh, I'm on my own again. I guess I better conserve food. I'll just have one of these and save the other two for later." And like I stop and think about that. If that's what he's really thinking, I couldn't take hearing that. It breaks your heart, right, Funkhouser?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's really sad.
So being able to communicate directly with your dog and know exactly what they're saying might just prove to be too much of an emotional
or any
wrench.
pet, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, barring the cat, who's just like, "Hey, idiot, give me my treats. Pet me for a little bit. That's enough. Go away."
What's that, Fido? Well, I love you too.
All right, more.
A new study says airline and hotel prices will increase over the next year.
Oh, yeah? Well, good. Let's all switch to cruises, said nobody, ever. I guess flying had just become too enjoyable and too cheap, so they decided to, do the only sensible thing.
You ever been on a cruise?
Yeah, not really. I have been, but I don't think it really counts as a cruise because it was like a day cruise. It was
a sea cruise?
It was a sea cruise. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby, ooh-wee, ooh-wee, baby. I was taken on a sea cruise, and it was from Florida to the Bahamas. So it was not that long. And I remember during this cruise thinking this is the room. This is the level of comfort. This is how well the air conditioning works. Let's get off this thing quicker. Can we swim the rest of the way? It was just not, I couldn't imagine. And obviously there's cruises and there's cruises and there's probably nicer accommodations and all that sort of stuff. But I can't imagine for one teeny tiny second wanting to deal with that for a week.
They say
gosh.
They say everybody gets sick. They get the flu on a cruise because of the air, how the air is circulated. If one person's sick, they're all sick. And
I think is amazing. All these bands that do cruises, like 311 have a cruise, Weezer have a cruise. There's that Shiprocked cruise, and there's a different cruise every single year. And I remember asking the guys in Weezer once when I talked to them, I was like, "Hey, so these cruises you do, did that ever get creepy with fans having such up close and personal access to you?" They're like, "No, we got really cool fans, we'll go sit with them in the cafeteria and just eat, and it's just, it's fun. And then we all listen to and play music at night, and it's a great old time." You know who had an awesome idea, and they never did it, but the guys in Muse, I think they sort of came up with a formative idea of the cruise, because they said they were bored of touring the way they had. They were over the idea of having to play after traveling in tour buses and airplanes. They thought that sucked. So the idea that Muse came up with was they would have a cruise ship. Now, they weren't like Weezer and 311 inviting people onto this cruise ship for the entirety of the cruise. They were just going to cruise around the world, show up in different ports, have people get on the boat, play the show to those people, and then the people get off and they go to the next town. But then they realized they were completely limited to only coastal towns because you can't get a cruise ship to the middle of the country. So that idea died. But I thought that was kind of nifty. I thought that was cool. That's that level of rock and roll excess that doesn't exist anymore. And I kind of like it that somebody is thinking that big. It was
we should get
back
a
in
boat.
the day. Yeah, like back in the day. Yeah, and you would never get this now. You know AC/DC's Hell's Bells? Nowadays, if you needed the sound of a bell, you'd go to an audio library. There's like a bazillion bell samples. Not AC/DC. They had a bell made. They first bought a bell from the military. That wasn't, doom-laden enough for them. So they had an enormous, I think it was a 10-ton bell made just so they could ring the bell a bunch of times in the studio. But I think they also might have taken the bell on tour with them. I'm not sure. But great personal expense to them. They had this bell made just for one song. Or Van Halen. You know that song Panama, Funkhouser?
Mm-hmm. Oh, do I?
You know what I love about Panama? It's that kind of rock and roll excess, like I was saying, that just sadly doesn't exist anymore. In Panama, when you hear the engine revving, you would think, ease the seat back, reach down between my legs. Vroom! That line, that part of it. That's not something that came from a sound library or anything like that. That is Eddie Van Halen driving his Rockstar Lamborghini into the studio, and they spent a day trying different microphones out on it, trying to get just the right vroom for that song in Panama. It took a Lamborghini and a day's worth of studio time to get that, but they got it. And nobody has money to do that stuff anymore, and that's kind of sad. So I appreciate anybody that thinks in grandiose terms like the guys in Muse, but in 2017, it's not an idea that they were able to follow up on. I'm sure they presented it to their management, and their management went, no. How much time do we have left? Because we should talk about OJ and the Prostitutes.
3 more minutes.
3 more minutes. One more piece.
Did you hear about Google Glass coming back?
They bring it back?
Yeah. Augmented reality coming back.
Does Google just feel a little too successful right now? They want to make things more challenging and interesting for themselves, like somebody who usually bats right-handed deciding to go lefty just to spice things up a little bit. We're bringing back Google Glass. Best news ever, replied a spokesman for the International Coalition of Creepy Weirdos. All right, so this is the deal with OJ and the Prostitutes. OJ Simpson has been offered a job at the Moonlight Bunny Ranch, the legal brothel in Nevada, where Lamar Odom overdosed and almost died in 2015. If OJ Simpson wants to rehabilitate his image when he gets out of prison, he's got an uphill battle ahead of him, to be sure. Because, like I said, right now, even prostitutes don't want anything to do with the juice. He's got this job waiting for him if he wants at the Moonlight Bunny Ranch, the legal brothel. You know that HBO show Cat House?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do I? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the place that offered OJ the job. And it sounds like he'd be in public relations because Dennis Hoff, the owner, said, quote, OJ is one of the most charismatic people that you will ever meet, and the legal prostitution business is all about warm greetings and friendly rapport. And here's the kicker. OJ would also get to live there and take advantage of the, and I quote, perks, basically for as long as he wants to. Now, the fly in that particular ointment is the actual prostitutes. Not all the working girls are interested in working with OJ, especially after Lamar Odom overdosed and almost died at the Bunny Ranch a few years ago. You ever deal with Dennis Hoff, Funkhouser?
Uh-huh.
He contacts radio stations on the regular. He's always looking for cool
if you want.
Promotional ideas. I think one of the radio stations I work for, before I was there, I think Rock 105.3 in San Diego at one point, back in the late 90s or early 2000s when this was the done thing, I believe that in partnership with Dennis Hoff and the Moonlight Bunny Ranch, I think somebody lost their virginity. It was a competition on the air to lose your virginity. That was the deal. And this guy won and got to go off to the Moonlight Bunny Ranch, courtesy of Rock 105.3, San Diego's rock station. And de-virginize himself with his girl of choice. Brooklyn Moore, who works at the Bunny Ranch, said, quote, we have worked hard to overcome the stigma that nearly consumed us. The last thing we need is another link to the Kardashian clan coming around to ruin our business and jeopardize our safety. On a related note, about 14 million people watched OJ's parole hearing across 9 major news networks on Thursday. There you go.